Front cover of the Times, Paul.
Oh, legal fears over gender guidance for schools. So the key salient points here are that this is around social transitioning, Leo. So this is about the idea of people being able to socially, locally, casually transition to any gender they wish to do so.
I'm a woman.
You are, to me. And what's happening here is Sunak essentially is trying to make this unlawful, but he's being told that it would be unlawful to do so, and he'd need to pass his own legislation for him to enact a law that would prevent this from happening. Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with someone socially doing anything. The problem comes when they demand that society agrees with them come what may.
And refers to them as a dinosaur
whatever it would
or
be.
whatever they identify as.
These are all anecdotal, but they've been proven time and time again. People will say, I just said it's anecdotal, but people will say that this stuff doesn't happen. It clearly does.
Just go on TikTok. Literally go on TikTok, type in cat people or identify as a cat, and loads of videos will come up.
Well, and this is the thing, Josh. I mean, this is at the level of sort of indoctrination. There's been such a huge surge in the number of young people identifying as different genders, not just different genders, but different species and even different forms of matter. You can identify as the moon and things like that. I mean, this is. I mean, it's like a cult-like religion.
No, it's a fad. It's a fashion. That's what it is, and it's a fashion.
But unlike fashions in the 80s, when you got a mullet, you could grow a mullet out. If you have your penis removed, or if you have a penis created and your breast removed, that's kind of harder to grow out.
Well, also,
or get rid of the double denim.
Yeah, well, exactly.
A permanent mullet.
Yeah, but unlike also the 80s, the teachers are not encouraging students to get the mullet. Yeah. And also, if anybody says, "Oh, that mullet looks a bit rubbish," they're not threatening. They're calling them despicable and threatening to kick them out of school. Yeah. So what they're trying to do is it's about safeguarding, and also it's about who influences your children. Yeah. Do you have the influence on your children? Do you have control over what information that they get and what they have access to, or are the teachers pushing this stuff on them?
Yeah, because, Paul, I mean, that's the terrifying thing, because parents aren't being informed when their children socially transition at school, and that's, quite often the pathway to fully transitioning. So, I mean, parents who are usually, generally the best custodians of their own children, rather than some blue-haired, indoctrinated communist primary school teacher, don't you think it's dangerous for the state to step in between the parents and the children like that?
It's terrifying. It is very dangerous. And what's happening here is, quite often, and I have done, and I know we just did then, is criticise teaching and teaching staff for not standing up against it. In many ways, they have absolutely no idea what to teach. They are completely at a loss. So what happens is they get in third parties who come in, some quango will come in with their bits and bobs hanging out and tassels all over the place and say this all stuff's true. And they do it in a way that's kind of like a nasty person. I'm trying to think of the right word for TV, but like a nasty person would. They will go to the child and say, you shouldn't tell your parent about this.
Which is the language of groomers. This is, I've got some puppies in the van. It's that kind of...
Yeah, it's not... I mean, it just happened to my kids a few weeks ago. The way they do it, they tack it on to a bunch of very viable and real stuff, like tackling homophobia.
And making sure people feel accepted.
Yeah, and all of that stuff. And then they sort of go, and also there are all these genders or identities or sexes that you can identify, and there's pansexual, and all of this stuff gets them confused. You have girls in my kids' classes who wear trousers and have short hair and whatnot, tomboys, essentially.
Yeah, they're the teachers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now suddenly what? And they go, no, you're non-binary because you're... But the problem here legally...
Which is homophobic in itself.
Yeah, well, exactly. Of course, I mean, these ridiculous ideas of what gender is...
So,
go!
Sorry.